Hey guys, welcome to my latest Ancients review episode on Substack. This one all about Megalodon. Megalodon, the biggest shark ever to exist, the greatest predator ever to roam this earth. And it lived between roughly 23 million and 3 million years ago. The real Megalodon, the real Meg. A shark that has fascinated people since ancient times and down to the present day, thanks to museum exhibits, particularly of their huge teeth, but also Hollywood movies too. It is quite a different type of episode to usual on the Ancients in regards to the subject matter. We have done a couple of episodes in the past about the dinosaurs and woolly mammoths, so these prehistoric beasts that once roamed the earth, but we've never ever done an episode about a prehistoric marine beast like Megalodon until the start of this week, because this is the second of two special episodes we've released this week all about prehistoric sharks. Originally the thought had been, at least for me, that we just do one episode on the first sharks and call it there, an amazing fun little episode, but then finish there. However, the team pointed out that you can't do an episode about prehistoric sharks without having one solely all about the real life of Megalodon. And I'm so glad they pointed out, because it was such a fun episode to record. So our guest for this episode is the same guest as we had for the one before, which has received a lot of praise. It's been wonderful to see the reception to our episode on the first sharks, and I think it is a reflection on the quality of our guest, none other than Professor John Long, who is the leading expert on prehistoric sharks. He's gone on adventures to the most remote places in the world in search of million-year-old shark fossils. He went to Antarctica in the early 1990s too. He talked all about that in our previous episode on the first sharks. But what you can tell with John is that he's absolutely fascinated with the story of prehistoric sharks, and his enthusiasm, it shines through so brightly. So we recorded this interview on Megalodon right after we finished recording the other one on the first sharks, and it was a bit of a jump forward in time. In our first sharks episode, we largely cover the story of sharks more than 350 million years ago, during periods known as the Devonian and the Carboniferous. So these are millions and millions of years before the rise of the dinosaurs, when sharks enjoyed a golden age in the seas, rivers and oceans of this prehistoric earth. They toppled another of the great super predators of the sea, these things called placoderms, which deserve their own episode entirely. And so we focus very much in the deep past on the story of those first sharks. And then with Megalodon, we were going forwards effectively more than 300 million years. Megalodon is pretty late in the long history of sharks and the relatives of sharks that, as mentioned, spans long before the time of dinosaurs, before trees, even before the rings of Saturn. I love saying that line. But he was great. John helped us connect the two episodes together. We start in the episode where we left off at the end of the first sharks, right at the height of the dinosaurs in the Jurassic period. John takes us through the next tens of millions of years until we get to the rise of Megalodon in the Ice Age. And then, when we finally get to Megalodon, delving into everything we know about this greatest shark of all time. It was fascinating to talk to John about these various qualities we know about Megalodon today, what we know about its body structure, its size, where it would have lived in the world, the abundance of fossils that have survived, also any potential predators to Megalodon only when they were very, very young. All of that was really, really interesting. But for me, my favourite part of the chat actually was right near the end. It was when John mentioned how Megalodon, their teeth, have been known to people since ancient times. You have the famous Roman writer Pliny the Elder, who died in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. You have Pliny the Elder collecting these fossilized shark teeth, including Megalodon, and writing about them. You also have, hundreds of years before, across the Atlantic Ocean in the Americas today, you have the Maya. They have discovered the remains of Megalodon teeth at the Mayan site of Palenque. And then you also have, really interestingly, if you go a bit further forward in time into medieval times, you hear about Megalodon teeth being used to test for arsenic in cups of wine and cups of drink at feasts and so on, so that people can check whether the host or whoever might have wanted to poison them or not. I can't delve into the science of all that, I don't know, but it was interesting John highlighting that Megalodon teeth were used to test for poison in medieval times. I love that legacy of Megalodon and how it has fascinated people for thousands of years, long after Megalodon went extinct. So those are a couple of things I really wanted to point out here. It was a fascinating chat. I really do hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know whether you'd like more special episodes to do with other animals that have deep roots in the prehistoric past. We've done dogs and cats before. We've now done sharks. What else can we do? Chickens, crocodiles, birds, you name it. There are ancient origins for them. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. That's enough for me for this quick review video, and I'll see you in the next one.